Well, you may remember Bob Staley from Winter Green Tree Farm. Well, it's not just Christmas trees. In the fall, Bob has chestnuts. And I am so excited to be here in his chestnut orchards because I am getting a whole lesson on chestnuts. I had no idea we could even grow them in Ohio.
Yeah, they don't grow real well in Ohio, but it's possible.
How many trees do you think you have here on your acreage?
On the entire farm, we have about 30,000 trees.
And you planted them.
Mm-hmm.
And how long before they come to fruition where they can actually bear fruit?
Some of them will bear fruit in as little as 3 years, but it's very little. You know, you might get one burr on 100 trees or something like that. Usually by about the 5th or 6th year, they're actually starting to produce.
I mean, that is quite a commitment.
It is, and the number 30,000 sounds like a huge number, but what we've found is that we plant about 10 for every one that we intend to keep because they don't all do well.
What disease or what is the problem that Ohio's kind of a tough terrain for them?
One is chestnut blight, which wiped out our native chestnut.
Okay.
And then we have a variety of other pests, including Phytophthora, which is a soil pathogen, and we've got oak wilt that attacks them, Japanese beetle, Oriental chestnut gall wasp, Asian oak weevil, and
Yikes.
That's just a few of them.
You don't pick them from the trees. They fall on the ground, and they have like a burr is what you call them, but it looks like a porcupine.
Right.
And then the nut is really protected, and it falls out of the porcupine.
That's right. Yeah, it's a very spiny burr that they grow in. They usually grow 3 nuts in each burr. And then when the nuts are actually really ripe, that burr will open up and the nuts fall from it. And that's why you really just pick them up off the ground because
I had no
that's
idea.
when they're actually really ripe.
So that's the burr, and this is what comes out, and like 3 of them, huh?
Usually.
Not one per burr. How can you tell if a chestnut is good or bad? Are these good ones?
Yeah, these are good ones. You want it to be completely filled up, not like wrinkly and that type of thing.
Right, and firm?
Yeah, firm. A lot of times in the store you may see chestnuts that are kind of dried out.
Right.
It's okay if you can put a little oil can dent in that, but if it's much more than that, if it's crackly, it's too far gone. And they're not your typical nut. Most nuts have a lot of oil, chestnuts don't, and so they actually dry out, and so they need to be refrigerated.
I was just going to say, what is the proper storage for a chestnut?
Yeah, you want to keep them in the crisper section of your refrigerator.
And how long do you think they'll last?
A month or 2.
They can't freeze. I can't imagine.
No, you don't want to freeze them.
Well.
Although a lot of my customers will take them and cook them and then freeze them.
Oh, and then you could just use them.
Then you can use them whenever
in
you want.
recipes and that. You can eat them raw. Let's open
Yes.
one up. So you don't have to cook them. You know, in the past, when look, one just fell. How awesome is that? A bird just fell.
Glad it didn't fall on us. That's all I can say.
At least you have a hat on.
Yeah.
Right.
They're an interesting nut because I think they're the only nut that has vitamin C. They have a lot of magnesium.
Let's say you cut down a tree. You know, is there anything that's really good with the chestnut wood?
Very rot resistant. Has a very interesting grain and it's fairly strong, but not real heavy.
Right.
A lot of people like to do woodworking with it. You know, when we still had the native chestnut here, they made all kinds of stuff. They claimed it was as rot resistant as redwood.
Wow.
So they made all kinds of different things.
Well,
out
then
of that.
what variety are you growing here? Like, what did you pick up that works here in our climate?
These are hybrids. They're part Chinese and part American. This was the first commercial orchard I put in, but after this I planted an orchard with about 5,000 trees where I tried all the different genetics and combinations thereof. And we kept track of what did well in this part of the country. And then we thinned them down from 4,424 trees down to less than 400. And by that time we were choosing based on whether we like the taste or not. Now the seed that I get out of that orchard almost always produces a nice chestnut. And so we're planting our new orchards using those seed, and then we keep improving those orchards. We're kind of working on creating our own particular variety.
Dr. Moreau, you are like, mixing it up.
Well, the only problem is I got started on this project, and I realized somewhere along the way that I'd embarked on about a 150-year project. that I'm probably not going to see the end of.
Yeah, oh, right.
But thank
right.
God my 2 kids are involved.
And
so
they like it.
They do.
Your family is really interested in this too.
I'm blessed by that.
I was so excited when I actually called him last year. It was because of the chestnuts.
Yeah.
And you're like, sorry, you missed that, but
Yeah.
I got Christmas trees. Hey, I
Just
want a
checking,
sapling.
yeah.
I want to grow one of these. You think I could in my backyard?
If they're fairly particular about where they like to grow. These ones are actually sitting on sand and gravel, and this little mound here is what they call an esker. It basically was a river bed in the ice sheet. It was once over
Really?
Ohio, and when the ice sheet melted, it just settled down on the ground. But it provides this really well-drained soil and this kind of high sloping ground that
And this is
frost
ideal
resistant.
for that.
Yes.
Yeah. Do they all have that big, oval leaf?
They do, but the leaf is different depending on what species it is. The Chinese have a leaf that actually has like a fuzzy surface on it, and that pure American just has a matte surface on it. If you know enough about them, you can actually pick up the leaf and tell to some degree what kind of tree.
Look, another one down.
It's,
That one was a little closer.
It's just a matter of time.
I know, I love this. Now, how long will it take after that drops for the nuts to fall out?
They may have fallen out already. Now you can see this one here has nuts in it, and I think this one just dropped.
Right. Oh, wow.
Over a period of about a day, that'll open up enough so the nuts would fall out. A lot of my pickers will open it up with their feet. They don't even try and touch them, but you can just take your feet and open them up like that.
That is so
And then
cool.
you'll see, you've got 3 shiny nuts in there. It's funny, the chestnuts were the one thing that I allowed myself to do that didn't have to make a profit, just as a
Right.
hobby. And it's kind of taken over my life, and it's now the main income producer for the farm. Could never find any decent chestnuts around here. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to grow my own. But it kind of turned into
Taking
this.
over. I mean, it is something. I think you're going to get a lot of people from our area, man, that are going to start becoming chestnut fans.
Good. I imagine they probably already are. They've probably had a hard time finding good ones, but I think they would really like ours and become really popular. And
Right.
people coming out here to pick their own and that kind of thing too.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get mine. I'm going to start on some of those recipes. And, if you don't make it for the chestnuts, Christmas is right around the corner.
Yep, that's right. It's coming fast. Yeah.
He's going to take care of all your holidays from Halloween all the way down to Christmas.
I like
you.
that idea. Well, thank you.
Thank you.